All right. So, hello and welcome everyone to TomoClub. I'm Chelsea Dean. I'm going to be your host for tonight. And I'm a curriculum designer here at TomoClub. So, today we're talking about a very important topic. We're talking about children's agency and what should be done about it, right? We did talk about this in the previous event as well, where we had Dr. Dustin here with us, who is an author to the book, The Belonging is a Basic Need. Right. So before we get into children's agency, I'd like to tell you all a little bit about TomoClub and what we do. TomoClub is an educational gaming game-based learning curriculum for children of for grades 3 to 12, where they come together and play collaborative games which help them foster social, emotional, and 21st century life skills. So allow me to share my screen and yep, let me know if you can hear it as well. Yeah.
Yep. Yes.
The world can be a challenging place, and for many students, navigating it can be overwhelming. Low self-confidence, a sense of not belonging, rising mental health concerns, and even suicidal incidents are just some of the issues affecting our youth today.
Traditional social emotional learning curriculums are falling short in addressing these concerns, with limited engagement and poor learning retention. But what if learning these skills could be fun and engaging, like playing a game? Introducing TomoClub, a game-based SEL curriculum that transforms education. Each class becomes an immersive multiplayer game session where students learn essential leadership, collaborative problem solving, and emotional intelligence skills.
Educators have full control over the game session and can easily set it up for the class. And the program is often finding making it suitable for students in grade school as well. And that rotation session educators receive a personalized snapshot. TomoClub's game-based approach provides the most engaging, interactive learning experience students in
TomoClub is transforming social emotional learning from classrooms across the nation. We've been seeing great efficacy towards our program with 95% student retention, tremendous improvement in classroom behavior and mental well-being, which in turn improves academic outcomes. Unlock the future for your students. Contact us today to experience the most engaging SEL curriculum ever created.
So that was a short introduction to what TomoClub is and what we do, and also the idea behind creating TomoClub. And one of the reasons why we're talking about children's agency also today is because that's one of the core competencies as to how we want to ingrain in them the ability to learn on their own, right? And also to learn together. In the chat box, if you can take the time to just type in what is your understanding of what agency in children looks like. So one of the things that we do believe in is with respect to children's agency is how is their capacity to act independently, right? And for them to make choices in different areas of their lives and how it influences them and the world around them. So take the next couple of seconds or the next minute to type in your answers and your understanding of agency in children. Yeah, children need voice and choice in their educational lives to help them build their own understanding of how and what they can learn. Absolutely. I completely agree with that, Mr. Matthew. And yeah, and one of the key aspects, or some of the key aspects of children's agency would definitely mean voice and choice, right? It would be in terms of decision making, not for their own lives, but also in areas that also impact them. So in decisions where they need to choose what subject they want to learn, right? So how we provide that sort of agency for grades, 9 and above, or for high schoolers to choose whichever subjects they would want to go forward with, especially in terms of what sort of career they want to take up. So, absolutely, thank you for sharing that. So, it does recognize children as active participants in their own learning and particularly in their own growth and development, and rather than just as passive recipients of the direction given by us or the adults in their lives. So, some of the ways today we're particularly talking about the strategies that we can use within the classroom or we can use, and they might sound very generic. And I'm pretty sure that all educators and all, mental health professionals are also focusing on building children's agency through these different methods and these different strategies. However, just reiterating some of them, and if you find anything that is unique to uh, post it in the chat box. So one of the first things that I would like to talk about is about the benefits of fostering agency, right? So one of the main things is how it enhances their decision-making skills. Now, when they're in the group setting, we've seen that they might get influenced by a number of choices. Sometimes peer influence is one of the key, uh, you know, key factors leading them to making a decision or making a choice between whatever is coming their way. So, how do we provide that sort of agency that enables them to choose what is right for them? How do we give them that choice where uh, they need to choose they need to decide the impact of that particular choice on them, and how do they take ownership for it? Another benefit is the improvement of their problem solving abilities, right? And again, that also comes from the second order thinking that comes along with enhancing their decision making skills. It increasing self confidence and self efficacy. As soon as a child starts believing in their own ability to, just make the right choices, or their own ability to understand themselves and having their own self awareness and social awareness, they start building that confidence within themselves where they're able to apply it in areas beyond their immediate circle. Then the development of critical thinking skills. Now again, that is something that is built through different activities, right? Different group play, that is something that is built through activities that involves them to think ahead, right? Where they need to analyze different situations, where they need to analyze different factors that are coming in and then make a decision or act according to it. And of course, giving them a greater sense of responsibility. So that's one thing that we will be talking about in greater detail going forward. Now, how do we create, particularly in the classroom, how do we create a supportive environment? What are your thoughts, Peter and Matthew? If you all would like to, mention it in the chat box, what is your thought of a supportive environment, particularly in the classroom? What do you think that would look like? Any keywords that are coming to your mind? You can also unmute yourself and speak if at all.
Yeah, I think anything that engages them. I think the beauty of TomoClub is that they work together, right? Mm-hmm. So many children. Not that I'm an expert; it's been a while since I've been in school, but it's they're all treated kind of differently based on where they are academically or behaviorally. Right. And when you do something with this, it just takes everybody's there. All of a sudden, there's no good, bad, better, worse. They're engaged, they're thinking. And the concept that what social emotional learning does, most of the products, it's for administrators who get the results and do that. But this is like focused on the students learning themselves. So it's basically them engaged as opposed to kind of being taught to them, if that makes sense.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. So just to reiterate, this is something that you were saying as to how it already creates a sense of agency in children, where they are making these decisions in their through collaboration in their own groups, right? So absolutely, that does look like a supportive environment. And one thing that Matthew is also mentioning is about how where multiple teachers act in a way that moves from direct instruction to coaching, right? And the connection between teacher and student, or student to student to student, can be strengthened by small group collaboration. Absolutely. So one of the keywords that I'm taking away from here is a classroom where there's a sense of collaboration and the teachers act as coaches and not just as guides. Am I getting that correct, or is there anything that you all would like to add to that?
I think that's true. I think it's Area SEL in the US is about lessons, surveys, all for, determining where the children are, which is helpful. But this is the first product I've seen that works through a curriculum, like that is engaging that way, which makes it so unique and honestly so much better. Like districts have so much data anyway. What they need is kids to be engaged, and that's based on the rampant absenteeism rates and all the other problems coming out of the pandemic. And as we all know, I think that's anytime think about kids on a playground, that's what this is, only they're learning, right? So I know it's simplistic, but it is a seismic shift in how they learn things, in my opinion.
I completely agree. And what I'm also correlating here is, or at least what I'm understanding from what you're saying, is how collaboration brings about higher engagement, right? How when children are in a setting where they're having fun, right? Where learning has become fun, there is higher engagement, and hence they also feel that sense of agency, where they're also taking different perspectives, they're taking opinions, and teachers also value their opinions and perspectives, right? Where they feel heard wherever they are. And I'll take this back to where Matthew mentioned about having a voice, right? So from my understanding, a supportive environment is a place where a teacher is able to listen, is able to guide them into a direction where they're able to create their own space. They're able to make their own decisions, whether in a peer group or whether at home or beyond the classroom. So they are provided different choices, but of course with appropriate limits, right? And there's open communication, there's active listening. So a lot of effective communication, which is modeled through the teacher's actions as well, right? And of course, where a children's voice is heard, where they're able to express themselves, whether they're likes or dislikes. So one thing or one anecdote that comes to my mind is I was observing a classroom where there was a child who they just did not want to sit in that classroom, right? And they were getting really irritable, and this is a grade 2 classroom. So there was this child who was banging the desk, could have hurt him as well, right? And what the teacher did at that time, and that's something that I've taken back with me, the teacher did not ignore the child, the teacher did not leave the child on their own, right? And this was in the middle of the class, right? There was an entire lesson that was going on. All that the teacher did was give the child a cushion. They said, if this is something that helps you right now, do it, but don't hurt yourself, right? And as that progressed, the child understood that there was a feeling of care for them, right? That someone cared enough for them to not get hurt, but they felt heard, right? Of course, their way of communicating that was completely different. Their way of regulating their emotion was completely different, but the teacher understood that. So that, I think that is one thing, and that is one idea that always sticks with me in terms of what a supportive environment in a classroom can look like. How do you feel safe even when, there are these different ways or different emotions that you're feeling, right? And you don't know yet how to regulate it. Right? So that's one instance that I can think of. Any particular instances that are coming to your mind as you heard this?
Yeah, I think I think that's a great analogy, because it's kind of like, those kids that, kind of feel lonely or don't have friends or feel, they just get through another class and stuff, and who knows what's going on at home. But this way, they have something engaged and they're part of it. It's like they get to be on a team and not have to be a great athlete or a great talker or anything like that. The other thing that I'd love to hear is how this helps teachers, because teachers are just overwhelmed and 1,000 things on. So now they have an hour where they actually watch kids have fun and talk about stuff. I mean, that's got to be, I think it's got to be good for them too. And since they're the ones leading the environment, maybe you could speak to the impact that has.
Sure. Right. If you could give me another 10 to 15 minutes, and then we'll jump right.
Sorry. Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I will keep that in mind to take it up towards the end.
Sure.
Right, in another 10 to 15 minutes. So just want to actually just touch base upon a few other strategies that we can use, to build children's agency. So of course, TomoClub does do that. And the idea where children's agency comes from, at least as a topic for us or as a theme for us, is with respect to how we built TomoClub. Right? So how do we, so children make their own decisions. Of course, within limits, we do provide them a set structure and things like that, but they are making decisions within the game, right? They are choosing to communicate respectfully with their peers. They have to communicate in a way where they have to reach the end goal, but they have to do it together, right? And you must be hearing me saying have to a lot, because that's exactly how the games are built, right? The games lead them to, walk in the similar direction or the intended direction, right? So say, for example, there's a game where, at least that's one of our games, it's called the Crisis Crew, where they all need to get to the exit point together. They need to get each other out through different contraptions, but they need to do it together. So unless they do not communicate with each other, they don't collaborate with each other, the game just keeps repeating itself. It's like a Sisyphean task then, right? So the first few times, it's like, they might not get it. But the second time or the third time, when they start playing it and when they start understanding what needs to be done, it becomes a simpler process for them. And they're able to apply that learning right after the debrief, where they talk about how does what they've done apply in their day-to-day lives as well. Pardon me. So the next point that I wanted to discuss was how can we encourage decision making? Right. So of course, one of the things would be giving them age appropriate choices, right? And of course, telling them that making mistakes is a part of learning, right? Now that comes from discussing the consequences and learning from the decisions that they make. And again, that's something that they do very, very naturally through the games that they play at TomoClub. But that's also led by the moderator or the teacher. Now, the teacher helps them debrief whatever they've done and helps them reflect over their actions during the gameplay. Right. So after each round, they come back in a larger group, and then they talk about what is working for them or what wasn't working for them. What were some strategies that they would like to use in the second round? What are some things that they would not want to do in the second round? How can they achieve the goal of, winning the game, or, getting higher points within the game, or even getting to the end point? How do they do that with the strategies that they have come to understand in the first two sessions or the first two rounds? Right. So that's exactly what the game also does. And when the moderator is talking to them about what has happened, what they've done, helps them reflect, they talk about how this entire game session or this entire round, how can they use whatever they've done or what skills they've learned here, how can they use it in their day-to-day lives? Now, in the game that we're going to play later on, we'll be talking about something called as resource management. And that's something that we all know, right, as adults. However, what the game does is explains it in a very simple way. They're acting on it, they're practicing the skill, and then they try to apply that learning back to their real life. So we might talk about how do you save a resource, like how do you save electricity at home, how do you save on time, right? Because time is a great resource, and the game also encourages that, to manage your time wisely and to communicate better, right? So we do talk about all these things, and hence giving them a space where they're able to make these decisions on their own, where they're also able to reflect over these decisions, is what also enables their agency. So in a classroom, say for example, they need to study, they're not in the mood for it, they, there's a lack of ownership for what they want to do. You provide choices, and one of the very common ways of providing choices is giving them 2 set choices of your own options, right? So do you want to do this right now, or do you want to do this right now? Do you want to sing right now and read a book later, or do you want to read a book now, or you want to sing later, right? Just an example. So giving them very set options as well, it helps because it gives them a sense of agency. Again, that's also dependent on what age group you're also catering to. Now, that might be something that might work with, say, elementary or even middle school. Now, with high school, that might be a completely different ballgame altogether. But encouraging ownership for their own learning enables them towards working towards that goal. Right? Now, providing opportunities for problem solving. Now, whenever a challenge arises, and I'm talking about really simple challenges within the classroom, as simple as opening to a particular page number, right? Sometimes we as teachers want to get done with a lesson really fast. That's just a very simple example, right? We want to jump into what the next round is. We want to get into the guided practice. We want to, we want to give them the individual practice right after that. However, what we miss out on is giving them the ability to find out the solution for their own problems, right? Of course, making them feel heard is extremely important, right? However, there's also a way to respond to that, respond to a query. So say, for example, as I was mentioning, opening to a particular page number. Now there might, and here I'm talking about elementary school, there are times when children do find it hard to, or at least some children find it hard to open to a particular page number. It could be, they must have misheard the instructions or something like that. However, that can be managed. That can be something that can be solved by themselves. They can ask their partner. They can, they can raise their hands. They can ask again. However, what a teacher can do in this particular moment is give them the time. We'll start in a minute, right? Give them direct instructions. We'll start in a minute. I'll wait for 1 minute for everyone to open their page or open their book to page number 50, right? And whether they're helping their peers or whether their peers are helping them, everyone's on the same page as long as our instructions are direct, right? And we're making everyone feel heard as well. So that does provide a sense of agency as well. And that's a very, very simple example of problem solving, particularly for kids, right? Hence, that also brings us to the point of critical thinking. Now we know that critical thinking involves analyzing different information that is coming towards them. Now, all of us do engage in critical thinking in our day-to-day activities, in different instances that come our way. However, that's also something that needs to be built, right? And the earlier it is, the better. So all the information that is coming to a child. Now, let's just take the example of let's take the same example of opening the book to this particular page number. Now, that does involve critical thinking as well for a younger child, where they have to think, okay, I need to open my book now. What will happen then? What do I need to do then? What happens after a minute if my 1 minute gets over? And if I've still not opened the book, what will happen then? Should I make a decision right now or should I not? Do I need to study or do I not? That also comes from the understanding of having the ownership for their own learning and giving them that sense of agency where they believe that it is their decision, and they have to own it up, and they need to work towards it. That gives them the ability to reach the end goal. So just wanted to touch base upon that. And now going forward, but let's just talk a little bit about one particular activity that I particularly love, right? And it's a very simple one. You know how I'm pretty sure a lot of us have done this in school, where you would give children newspapers and you would tell them to build a tower, right? But you'd give them newspapers and you'd give them sellotape, and you tell them to build a tower, and the tower that stands and is rigid, they've done a brilliant job, right? So it's a team building activity that we usually do in school. What are your thoughts on that? How do you think that one particular activity can build a sense of agency in children? If at all you all have, done it in your classroom or you've done it yourself. So one thing that particular activity does is increases collaboration and teamwork, right? You have the end goal set. You're already thinking about what needs to be done. That's our end goal. This is how it needs to be, right? So what you're doing with your teammates, or what the children are doing with their teammates, is they're discussing what needs to be done. So it involves a lot of critical thinking. They're thinking about how do we need to roll a paper, what do we need to do to make a paper that is so fragile, how do we make it rigid, right? So we talk about those things. We also look at how they're able to express themselves differently to just make that one particular tower stand, right? So whether they want to lay it flat, do they want to lay it one on top of the other, do they want to make say a firm foundation and then build it up, right? So these are the different points of views that also come up with just this one small activity. And that's also something that we do within our games, right? So they have the leverage to make decisions in order to reach the end goal. And they can do it in as many ways as possible. Now, the initial few games that we do play, they're quite direct, right? Like they involve a lot of communication and collaboration, but a little as they're going forward within a few months, they're able to gather the information extremely quickly, right? They're able to analyze the different information that's coming their way and collaborate to reach their end goals and efficiently, right? Now, again, setting and achieving goals is a major part of building children's agency, right? Helping them set goals for themselves. Now, that's exactly what therapists also tell their clients, right? Why don't you set your own goals, especially in therapy? Set your own goals, and or at least we'll set the goals together, and we'll work towards that, right? What that helps with is having the ownership towards working towards those goals, right? So giving them goal setting strategies, helping children set goals, and providing them with a lot of reinforcement whenever they're achieving these different goals, whether it be in the classroom, whether it be in academics, whether it be in their behavior within the classroom or outside, whether it be in building more collaboration within their groups and the likes, right? So that ends, or at least that's a short summary as to how we can create strategies and methods within our classroom and even at home as parents to cater to children's agency. How do we give them a sense of responsibility within these different spaces so that they're able to make choices on their own, right? And choices that impact them in a positive manner. At the end of the day, whatever happens or whatever decisions that they make growing up, they need to take that sort of ownership for those decisions. They take responsibility for them. right? And it becomes a method for them to cater to their own development as well. And we're not saying that children need to make all their decisions for themselves, right? But they need to have a voice, as Matthew earlier mentioned. So that is it with respect to how we can increase children's agency, particularly within the classroom and even at home. And yeah, so that was it. And we'll jump into our game session now. Like it'll be a short 8 to 10 minute round where we will be playing the game, and then we will discuss in greater detail how the session looks like. So floor is open for questions and any thoughts or comments that are coming right at the top of your head right now. And we'll cover that in the next few minutes. Mr. PJ, you can go ahead and ask your question
now. I can't remember now. Just kidding. Yeah, no, I'd love to see the game for sure. So,
all right. Any query? I mean, anything that's coming to your mind with respect to the topic that we were just discussing? Anything that you feel like you want to add, or any thoughts or comments on that?
No, I thought you covered it really well. I think there's just so much to children's agency. I mean, it's just a massive topic, but I think the most important thing is to have actionable services that can help, right? I think there's lots of debates. People love to talk about stuff, but I think engaging students is the number one thing, at least in my opinion. Yep.
I completely agree. Thank you, Mr. Matthew, and thank you, Mr. Peter. I'm going to send the link in the chat box right now. Would request you to click on the link and open it on Google Chrome, if possible.
Got it.
Yeah. Now click on Run Game.
Yep.
Then select the region as Europe. Type in your name. Select the region as Europe and the build as player. Let me know once you're done with it. Okay.
As mod player, is that what we should do?
No, just player.
Just player. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, region would be Europe.
Okay.
Yeah. Now click on join. And your room number is 397. All right, I see Peter in, I see Matt in. And okay, so in this particular game, it's a drag and drop game, right? So in this drag and drop game, all that we need to do is, there are going to be a bunch of hexagon tiles, right? 3 hexagon tiles in different arrangements. And we need to communicate with each other to complete an island. It's a very simple game. If you played Tetris before, you will understand it right away. But it's a simple drag and drop game, right? And we will talk about what the learning outcomes of this particular game are, and I'll take it forward from there. All right. So I believe everyone's in the game, and it's a turn-taking game, so we're going to be playing it one after the other. So the game should start for everyone now. All right. So I'm playing right now. Only you can see the colors of my tiles. I cannot. So you'll have to tell me, Matthew, if it's possible for you to unmute, that'd be great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you'll have to tell me what the color of my tiles. I mean, I'm not very sure what it is.
So you have 2 green, 1 on the top, 1 on the bottom, and a water wheel in between the 2.
Okay. So where would you all want me to place it? Also, we need to place the water wheels on the water wheels to get What's
So at
different?
the bottom there where the water is
Yeah.
possibly.
Yep, that would be a good spot.
Okay. All right. That was great.
Nice.
Matthew, do you want to tell Peter?
So Peter, you got two like brownish tiles on the left and then a green tile on the top right.
Okay.
Yeah. I think you should place it on D7.
The green one?
Yeah, just place it on D7. Just select that and drag and drop it to D7. Or that's D8. Sorry, D8.
E8. Okay.
Yeah. Just click on it and pick it up and place it there.
Yeah, it's not dragging for me.
Okay, just click on the page again and just click on the tiles and then drag and drop if possible. Oh, I think you got dropped off. No, you're still in.
Oh, where?
Yeah, you're in. I'll help you. Don't worry. Yeah, there you go.
I
Yeah,
was clicking on the wrong tile. Okay, so D8.
go down, go down. Yep, that's it. So when we connect 3 grass patches together, we get more fruit. And when we connect 5 together, we get more milk, or the island produces more milk. Right? So Matt, you've got 2 dirt patches or the brown patches on either side and the water wheel in the center. Peter, where do you think we should place it?
Maybe by the water over there on G, possibly.
Like right here.
I would think closer to the water, but again, it's just a guess.
So what happens is that the water wheel needs to be placed upon the water wheel that's already there on the map. Otherwise, we get negative points.
Okay.
Yeah. So you can tell me mine now.
So you've got a water wheel in the middle and then green on top and bottom.
Okay. Where do you think I should place this? I can also rotate my tiles. And we've just got 7 minutes left.
Maybe next to the fruit.
Okay.
E.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. Is that all right?
Yeah, that looks good.
Okay. All right. Okay, this is going to be interesting. Peter, you've got 2 brown patches and then 1 green one. Can you rotate it, please? Can you rotate it once? Do you see
Sure.
that? Yeah,
Yep.
that's it. Just maybe stick to that. And can you put it on B9? Can you see the 3? Yeah.
B9 or 3?
Just a
B9.
little bit down.
B9, yeah. Just go down. On the right.
A little bit to your right. Right
Yeah.
there.
All right. Great. We got more milk for the island. Now it's not, yeah.
Yeah.
Now
So what
it's
do I
not,
have?
You got 2 green and 1 brown.
How about something like that?
It looks like it works.
yeah, I think so. All right. Not bad at all. Okay, now we need to focus on getting the water to the warehouses, right? And that can be done only using the brown patches. So let's see which warehouse we can connect to the water body that's in the center.
So you've got the 2 on the left are brown, and then you have the green in the top right. So if you rotate it, you could do like from water wheel on like G9.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, that looks great.
Yeah. All right. Okay, that's great.
Matt's good at this game.
Yeah. So you've got 1 green, then you've got the water wheel, then you've got the brown patch. I think you can rotate it maybe twice. Once more. And place it at J9 or J10, pardon me. Can you see J10? J.
Oh, J. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. Go forward. Yeah. Do you think that's okay, Matt?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's perfect.
Okay, great.
All right, what do I have?
You got 2 brown patches and 1 green. 2 brown on top.
So if I were to do like this would get us to the water, right?
But we need to connect the warehouses that are in the corner.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
So where should I put this guy then?
Peter, what do you suggest?
Maybe at the bottom, like A down there,
Mm-hmm.
like
A-
A7, maybe. That might
A7?
overlap though.
Yeah, might not. Yeah, won't be possible. Yeah.
That looks good.
Okay. Okay.
What are the brown? Are the brown the warehouse? Or?
So the brown one, you know where the, okay. So A0, A11, M0 and M11, they're all the water, they're all the warehouses. So those need to be
Okay.
connected to the water body. That's the center.
Okay.
Yeah. So you know what? I think I'm going to use a power up because I think we need to take out one of the green patches here at B9 or B10. Sorry, B9 or C10.
I would go with B9.
Yeah, B9.
Yeah.
But we won't be able to place a brown tile there anyway. So we'll have to figure something out, yeah. Or maybe we can just figure out another way to connect another warehouse.
Well, you're right now sitting on a water wheel at the top and 2 brown. You could put it on, yep, right there, and that could get us started down that pathway.
There you go. Okay, that was great. One. Yeah.
Yeah, Peter, that would be great if you put that right below where she put it from the warehouse down.
Okay.
Oh, go back and rotate it a little bit. Sorry.
No, it's okay.
Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. One more. I think. Yep, there you go. Put that one right from the warehouse in the corner.
There?
A little bit more. Just one more step. There you go. Perfect.
Yeah. You've got all brown, like all of them are the pathways.
Well, I think then that would work right here.
Yeah,
Wow.
excellent.
Wow.
Excellent thinking there. Right? What do you think I should do now? Which ones do I have?
If you rotate it a little bit, you got a brown that would connect us. Keep going.
Yeah.
There you go. And then if you put it the top left,
Right below the brown there. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think Matt's played this before.
Yeah. Pete, you've got all are brown. So all are brown patches. Maybe we can connect another warehouse. What do y'all suggest? We've just got a minute and a half. So I think we can do it. Yeah.
Down here.
Yep. That's great. Awesome. Yeah.
Perfect.
Excellent thinking there. Matt, you've got 2 brown patches on top and 1 green.
So if I did this, did that.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, that's okay. That's fine. Which one do I have? Which ones?
You got all brown, so if you just flatten it out.
You got this, yeah? There you go.
Yep.
Excellent.
Why do I keep getting all brown? Seems like a conspiracy, right?
It feels like it as well. So you got two green and 1 brown.
Okay.
I think you can place it at G6 or 7. Yeah, that's it. That's it. Great.
Yeah.
So, Matt, you've got 1 brown and 2 greens.
So if I did something like that,
yeah, maybe you can place it somewhere else. Maybe get more fruit. Maybe F2. F2 or F3.
Yeah, to the left of the green there.
The left, yeah.
Oh,
there you go.
Still up.
Right,
Yep.
up a little bit.
Yep.
There you go.
That's it.
Perfect. Oh.
4 seconds. Just tell me where to place this. Oh, okay.
Oh,
not bad. Not bad at all. I think all of y'all should give yourselves a pat on your backs. Just do it. Really. That was excellent.
I had no idea what I was doing, but it's okay.
Okay. So what do you think this game was all about, first of all? And what are y'all feeling right now?
Well, it was good teamwork.
Well,
like it,
yeah,
really fun to play, really simple, and you know, Peter, it'll get better with another playthrough, right?
One would hope, man.
Yeah.
No, I agree. The teamwork, it's kind of like, because then you're helping each other, and that's the engagement, that's the excitement that kids will have.
Right. And what all resources did you see? Now we're just putting our student hats on just to give you an insight as to how a debrief looks like. Okay. So what do you think, what were the resources, or what are resources, what are the resources in this particular game?
In what sense? What
So
other
what were
resources?
some of the resources within this particular game? What were some things that you had to build, to get ahead?
Well, everything's linked to the water, so the fruit, I guess,
Yeah.
helps grow.
Right. So food's a
Yep,
resource. Yeah.
yep.
Sure, Matt. Thank you so much for joining in. All right. So Matt had to drop off. That's completely okay. So yeah. So fruit is a resource. Electricity is a resource that was being generated via the turbines or the water wheels. All right. Then the milk is a resource on that particular island. So what we do usually is that we tell the students an entire narrative of the game, like what the game is all about, not just what they have to do within the game, but what the story is behind the game, right? So what we would usually tell them is there were these different people who went to an island and they need to build this island from scratch. And how they need to do that is that they need to build it using these three different tiles. Now they have the grass patches, they've got the pathways, and they've got the turbines, right? And they need to place it in the right order, in the right place for them to figure out how or where they need to be placed, right? But they need to do it collaboratively, right? Now, what this particular dark mode does, so the first session or the first round that we play with the kids are also able to see, or at least whoever's turn it is, they're also able to see their tiles, right? So right now, this was like a challenge that I had placed for you all as well, where the person whose turn it was, they could not see the tiles, unfortunately, right? And that in itself builds a sense of collaboration for kids, right? Because they have to communicate to reach to the end goal. And I think all of you, like you and Matt, both of you did a wonderful job, particularly because you're playing it for the first time. And I'm not sure when Matt has played this before, right? So it was wonderful to see you all communicating and also respectfully, even when there were, points where you would want to place the tiles in different places, or you would think that there might be a different strategy to winning this game, right? Even then, we were respectful in the way we communicated. And that's something that we also teach with this game, about how effective communication takes place, right? Now, again, it depends upon where or which point of the curriculum you're in. Now, this is one of the first games that they play, right? So our core, the core skill that we talk about is communication and collaboration. How do you build that? How do you start being respectful to your teammates? Because the game encourages you to communicate with your peers, right? So that was a short insight into how this game looks like. And with respect to the resources, they talk about resource management. We talk about how you need to also manage your time effectively, right? Because there was a timer running. So usually in a session, it would be, or in, a class, there would be an 8-minute round or even lesser sometimes, right? And the teacher would help them, just manage the time more effectively. And when they're collaborating effectively, they're also playing this game efficiently, right? And they're managing their time efficiently. So yeah, that was a short insight and, look into what this looks like. And what are your thoughts now, Peter, if you want to go ahead?
No, I thought it's great. I really got into it. Can the kids see what color their tiles are, or does someone need to help them with that?
Could you explain? So exactly how we played it right now, right? It's going to be the same for the kids.
Okay.
Yeah. The only
So
thing,
who tells them what they have if they're playing on a team?
their teammates.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
No, I thought it was great. Like, I'm far from being a kid, but that was really fun. I think Matt's a sandbagger though. I think
Yeah.
I think he hustled us a little bit. So.
I don't know, right? So I think one thing that we also do with this particular game, so now this is for all age groups, right? Whether we're playing it for grade 3 or whether we're playing it for grade 12 as well. But with grade 12, in the debriefing, we would talk about compounding. Because one thing that you might have noticed or might not have noticed is that after every 15 seconds, the points increase, right? It depends, it depends upon the resource that you've invested in. So the more resources that you create, so the more resources in terms of milk that you have on your island, the more points that you get. Right?
Do kids know that, or do they just learn that after playing the game once?
They'll learn that after playing the game. So in the first 2 rounds, they're just exploring it. Right? They're exploring it with their teams. They're trying to understand the strategy. In the 3rd round, we give them a little hint into what the learning outcome is also. Of course, in the first opening itself, we talk about what the learning outcome is going to be. But we talk about how it is going to be related to the game. And what it does is that it helps them just practice the skill that they're learning, right? And then they, right towards the end, they debrief all the learnings from the session, because they're able to reflect for the next for the last 10 minutes of the session.
Are the games fundamentally different for middle school and high school than elementary?
So
right,
all the games are the same. All the games are the same. The levels change, right? So now for say elementary, this would be a 12 to 13 minute round, right? So each round would be relatively longer. Right? And for elementary, for the first session, we would not play the dark mode, but we just played. Right? We would play a normal mode where they would be, or whoever's turn it is, they will be able to see their own tiles. Right? And so no one has to particularly tell them what needs to be done in the first round. Right? And however, it won't be the same for high school. For the high schoolers, it'll be a shorter round. It'll be, say, a 6-minute round, but the same number of tiles. So they need to act faster. They need to manage their time better, right? So the rigor or the session and the lesson plan also increases.
Interesting. So does it get more difficult as you go along the levels?
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. So they can, if a class is doing well in high school, they can start at like level 3, for example.
So now all of our games are completely different, right? So now this is one of the games that, so for each session, as the kids are coming, we're playing different games in different sessions. So for the first session, they played First Settlers. In the next session, they they will play Crisis Crew. In the next session, they'll play Backyard Battles. So these are all our different games where we're talking about the different learning outcomes with respect to the skills and the competencies that we're trying to teach them.
Wow, that was really wonderful. Thank you so much. It was great to actually see how it works and play with people. So
I'm glad, Peter, that you were able to join, and thank you for taking our time as well to join us today.
It was my pleasure. Thank you again.
Thank you. And any questions or any queries that you have, can I, even host a session for people around you?
Awesome.
Yeah, just let me know.
Nice meeting you, Matt. Good playing.
Yeah. All right. Thank you for coming.
Take care. Thank you.
Bye-bye.